My name is Andy Schmuckler, and this is the first of a series under the title Why We, meaning my wife and me, though we're quite happy living where we live and are doing fine here, have decided to move into a retirement community. I think that explaining the story of all that um, could be useful to a lot of other people who are dealing with these issues. And I'm going to start with this one, talking about, coming to terms with the realities of aging and death. Uh, though my wife and I are both doing fine right now, I'm 78, she's 72. Just yesterday on our anniversary trip, we climbed 500 feet up Seneca Rocks, West Virginia. Doing okay. I'm, thanks be to God, some people would say at such a point. But still, there's a reality that we know that from the level we're at right now, there's an end point, which is part of human life. And how we get from this level to that level could be any of a huge number of things that we don't have a lot of control over. So there's a destination and there's a process of decline in whatever form that might take. And I have known that stuff my whole life, but I don't know it at some other levels. I am continually surprised by the obvious truth of our animal life cycle, which includes death. That's one way to put it. I watch movie stars in the old movies, say Cary Grant and Ingrid Bergman, and I look at the accomplishments of people in all kinds of ways, and then I'm continually shocked to think, well, they're all dead. Writing a masterpiece like that was no get out of jail free pass. I mean, it awaits us all, including me. You can both know something and not know something, and there's a lot that I don't know, even though I know it. So, last 10 years, April and I have had these occasional conversations. Well, what are we going to do, next? If you got to walk up a substantial hill to get to the mailbox, and you're an hour away from the hospital in case you need something in a hurry, this isn't the place that we can grow old and die in. So April and I are both sort of planners ahead. We got a game plan, and then we sometimes surprise ourselves by doing things that weren't in the game plan. But we knew that eventually we were going to have to deal with the question of when do you stop living on a mountain ridge in the middle of a forest far from a hospital and all that stuff. And we got nowhere. And where would we want to live next? I mean, that would probably be our last move, or would it be our last move? Well, could we get an apartment someplace, within reasonable reach of a good hospital, and just sort of grow old in place there, even if we can't grow old in place here? And we got nowhere with it. I mean, it was getting to be almost a joke how nowhere we got. And then, I don't know, maybe a little over a year ago, our son gave us some kind of a kick in the pants. I don't remember what form the kick took, but I know that I came out of it determined to start doing something about to come up with answers rather than just mull around fruitlessly with the questions. And I started researching, and especially including retirement communities, starting with those in our areas. And well, that's a story I won't go into at this point. But I had to make a mental move to come more to terms with the realities of aging and mortality. And when I did that, I saw that we needed more of a game plan. And I took the position, I want to stay here as long as I can. Something like that may lie in our future, but why give in to that retirement community thing, which did not look very appealing to me? And I'll do a little video on you're living with all these other old people. That's not, well, what is it? That'll be another video. But that's one of the realities. It's in a sense taking on an identity of being an older person. Why do that any sooner than you need to? And there are these things that say that timing, you can either be 5 years too early or 5 minutes too late, like something might happen. And it would have been better if you had gotten yourself in place there before it happened. I was willing to take that chance. But first, I had to recognize that aging is a reality. As much as I want to think of myself as still a athletic male animal, I'm an old man. The years say that, and there are various other messages that are pointing the way. I just happen to be on the fortunate end of the decline has not become steep and disturbing. But I've got a lot of friends, and one of the things that aging involves that I had never anticipated. Reality is I really didn't spend much time thinking about aging at all till it presented itself. Aging is something that's happening, that is an inevitable part of life. And that you got to act rationally in the face of that reality. I first had to recognize that my continued existence in terms that are basically acceptable to me is true for the moment, could change anytime in a whole variety of ways, as I see happening with friends of mine who are dealing with things that are really not fun to contemplate. Some friends that are losing their compos mentis. I do ask myself, if I cease to be able to do creative work that I thought was meaningful, would I be able to feel okay in life? It's not obvious to me in terms of where I get my goodies. And then I have other friends who've undergone procedures that had complications that left them in a condition that was lesser. So as you get older, aging is something that you act out yourself to whatever degree, and that you've got maybe a whole community of people who've been part of your life for a long time, who are going down different trails. Some of them basically messages about our temporariness. So for me, for example, I have this picture in my mind of at the banquet for the 55th high school reunion of my high school class in Minnesota. We had these three couples, April and me, and my high school sweetie and her husband, who'd been my friend for a half century as well, and my best friend from high school and his wife, who was also a classmate whom I also love. We were all sitting around the banquet table, and now whatever it is, years later, 7 years later, I'm the only man in the group still alive. These were brilliant, capable, fully human men. And there at our 60th, we just attended the funeral for my best friend from high school. So life has a way of reminding us, and I think that part of the decision is I became open to moving into acknowledging the reality, but I wanted to put it off into the future until I had an experience that has led me to feel that moving soonish, well before we're going to need to, is really the worthwhile life choice in terms of not just a concession to aging, but to an embrace of a new life. That's the thing. I discovered that there was a new life there on offer. Okay, well, I will be back.